Hello and welcome to an update of the blue worms, the red wigglers, and the European nightcrawlers. So let's start our update with the perionyx or the blue worms. And they are crawling. Oh, no, get back in there. Yes, they do like to crawl. So we are also expecting some rain on Thursday, and I'm definitely expecting them to crawl on me. They can't really get out, but still, it's not something I enjoy seeing. Okay, back. So you can see they have plenty of bedding here, and they're working it over nicely. Just going to fluff everything up and feel for the moisture, which is very important for these guys. And then also see how much kitchen waste they have gone through. So this is where we fed, I guess, last time. I'm expecting to see more of them. So what happens to a potato skin that hasn't been frozen? Sprouts. How wonderfully rich this material is. Everything sprouts. So just a quick toss. Yeah, I might plant those. Who knows? So this is where we fed. And of course you can see what a large concentration there is of these guys here. Okay, not gonna bug you too much. Just wanted to see how the food situation is here. Yeah, lively bunch of worms. Fast moving guys, fast. So we'll feed maybe in this area right next to the previous one. I don't really have any specific way of feeding. Sometimes I will pocket feed. Sometimes I will, just feed throughout in the center. As long as I cover it well, so it doesn't attract bugs and it doesn't stink. That's really all I care about. So we're going to give these guys a nice amount of kitchen waste, I think. And of course, I always like to give them some grit at every feeding. You don't have to do that. You can do it once a month, as long as they have some grit. They need that because they don't have any teeth. This is to use as for their in their gizzard to process the food. And I'm not giving them bedding right now because they do have plenty of bedding and the moisture is pretty good in here. If it would be a little bit on the wet side, then I would definitely add a little bit of dry bedding. So it's important for me to check my bins and turn them over on a weekly basis when I feed, so that I get an idea of what the bin needs and I can address it at that time and not let get anything out of hand. So let's go over to the red wigglers now. Here are my red wigglers. And they typically don't crawl like the blue worms do, so it's a lot cleaner in here. Let's see. They also have quite a bit of bedding. So lots of material they need to work over before we can harvest this. But you saw that these two bins actually, both of them, the blue worm bin and the red wiggler bin, I did do a harvest, so a lot of this bedding is new. Looking good. And that's where we fed. Again, you can see, you know, everything sprouts. I typically like to freeze my tubers because of this very reason. I don't need them sprouting in here. But let's see what they did with the food. Oh yeah, lots of babies. I mean, a ton of babies, really. This worm sandwich. Yeah, they can definitely use some more kitchen waste. So we'll do the same thing. They got more than enough bedding. Just gonna lay down some of our waste. I have a lot less material going into the garbage because of these worms. I'm really happy. And same thing with the grit, just a little bit. And cover it up so we don't attract any bugs, and so it doesn't smell, right? Gotta cover that food up. And they're done. So let's go over to the European nightcrawler bin. And here they are. And you can tell that I am working on luring the worms to the other side out of the finished castings. It's called the horizontal migration. And this way they will leave me with fairly worm-free castings that I will then sift. And not all worms make it out, obviously. Some do, some don't, but very few don't. You can see that it's fairly free of worms. But this is my sifter basket. It's a 1/8 inch screen. And I just wanted to show you that I'm not going to do it right now, not on camera, but I'm going to do it shortly because I think they're ready to get more material, new bedding and that. So I want to show you what I do typically. I just put the material in here and I put it in a different bin, and then I will sift it. Hard to do this with one hand, but I want to try and show you guys. Oh my goodness gracious. And typically you have all these bits and pieces, and things that need to go through one more time, and worms, and they do get stuck in here, so they can go right back into the bin, and I don't have to worry about hurting them. I'm not going to do this right now, obviously, because I want the material to dry out just a little bit more, but you can see how flaky it is. And pretty soon, when I do put it through the sifter, I'm just going to have castings and very, very few worms left, and it's not going to get stuck in the basket. Meanwhile, I'm going to feed these guys, and I've been feeding only in this area right here to encourage them not only to move to this area but to stay in this area. Let's see. Yeah, I've got some, looks like fruit fly larvae is here as well, but they don't make it out. And that's fine. That's only because I didn't freeze this stuff before. Sometimes I get lazy. But you can see how dense the population is in here. It's very nice. They do like to go where the food is, so we'll keep them in here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to give these guys some bedding because it's getting quite moist at the bottom there. Just want to make sure I'm not taking any babies out because they are little hitchhikers. I can tell you, you have to be careful. Okay, so we're going to lay down just a little bit of bedding. There we go. And then, of course, the kitchen waste. And a little bit of the grit. I think I'll do a harvest sometimes this week when I have a little bit of time. And I'm not going to show it because you've seen me do plenty of harvests. You know what I do. But I think it's already time. They certainly can use the rest of the space. And that is it. So these guys are fed, and I can leave these guys alone, settle back down, and do the harvest pretty soon so that I can start filling up this bin with new bedding. That's our update. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.